Okay. Again, this is Pastor Jim Miller, and I'm here with Bob and Peggy Knoll, doing a little conversation online for us and all the church to share in. Good morning, Bob and Peggy. Good to see you both.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
I love the background. You've done that extremely well. I feel like I'm in a boring place, and you guys are at the beach somewhere, which is awesome.
We love the beach.
You just need a wall-sized television so the whole room feels like that.
We thought it was big until we set this thing up.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Well, so I was talking with some of the church staff, and it occurred to us that a lot of people are now home a lot of the time who weren't used to being home because either they've transitioned to working at home or because maybe their work is on hold currently. And we discussed the fact that that kind of reminds us of retirement. I hear all the time people retire, and then they have a lot of new time on their hands, or they're home a lot of the time, and they have to figure out, so what do I do now that my life looks different and feels different? What do I do with that? So I thought I'd speak to a couple of people who are a fountain of wisdom about that transition, because you all, not that long ago, transitioned into the world of retirement, right?
Yes.
Right.
And tell me, just so everybody knows, tell me what you did for a living before the retirement years.
Well, I worked for the Southern California Gas Company for 45 years. Before that, during high school and college, I worked at little odd jobs,
Okay.
but mostly 45 years at that gas company.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've been in the service industry all my life, from 16 on to when I retired. And my last job was at Starbucks working as a barista.
Yes. And how long were you there?
10 years.
Right on. Very good. And now you have an abundance of coffee.
Yes.
Yes.
Free 1 pounder every week.
Oh, good. Well done. So what do we do with all this? There are people who are home. Maybe they're working from home. Maybe they just have a lot of free time all of a sudden, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do with myself? It doesn't feel like life used to feel.
Well, for one thing, I'm sure, like myself, I used to get up at 3 in the morning. So when I retired, I didn't really have a time schedule anymore. So I could get up at, my natural waking time,
Right.
which is pretty neat.
Okay. What's the natural waking time?
7.
Oh, that's still early. I don't know.
I know.
Okay. So you get more sleep, or you get to sleep on a more regular schedule.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You can stay up later.
You can. Yeah.
I wasn't able to stay up very late.
Right. Yeah. I guess getting up at 3, you would not.
Yeah.
What do we do with our days now? I mean, if somebody is used to being busy, and that's just kind of what's driven them, and all of a sudden there's just a blank calendar in front of them, what do we do with that?
We fill them. We fill them up to the top and overflow them.
Okay. I've heard a lot of that. Yeah.
We, for the first couple of years, I helped work on a couple of houses in my family, doing a general renovation. And so that was like maybe a year and a half there on 2 houses.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did a lot of stuff in the yard. I have a lot of projects. I wasn't one of those guys that retired and didn't have anything to do.
Okay.
Front yard. I still have a lot of those going on. I got more involved in the church activities. I felt that I had more time, so I help lead a couple Bible studies. I volunteer at Shepherd's Pantry, to deliver food once a month.
Student ministries.
Yeah, the student ministries thing. A lot of things at church. I was once on the parking staff at church, but then I was having a hard time with my hips, so I'm doing what are the guys that hand out the
Ushers.
the ushers?
Yeah.
With the ushers. And so I feel it was a lot of great things, gardening. And I joined a class. I joined a community stained glass class. And so I think we added it up 5 nights out of the week. we're doing something, and the other
Okay.
two Saturday and Sunday. So
Okay. So now I'm thinking through that list in this new context where people are told to stay home. There's actually still a lot of things on that list that people can do
yes,
because there are a lot of online classes now.
yes,
There are still food providers that are providing food, Shepherd's Pantry, God's Pantry, and others who are providing food for people in need. They just drive up. It's not as interactive as it was,
yes.
but they still need it, and so there's still people doing that. We're still leading Bible studies online. We have fully digital, Bible studies where the screen looks like the Brady Bunch because there's so many people online at one time, and they study the Bible and talk together.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah.
It's actually perfect.
Yeah.
I have not, I've been quarantined for self-quarantine because I was sick. So for about 19, 20 days.
Okay.
And I go in my scrapbooking room. If you have a hobby, that will really help your days go by quicker.
Okay.
And I make cards and scrapbooks so that it's easy to go in there. I love it. Let's see, what else do I do? I'm in Bible Study Fellowship and the Rooted Study. I have been continuing on in that. Bob and I stop to pray when people text us. Our ministry still goes on, and we will stop in the middle of the day. We have lots of time to do that, to pray.
Yes. You sound like you're feeling better.
I am feeling better.
Good. Yeah, and prayer is an essential part of ministry and life, and there's nothing about the digital world that stops us from doing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
God hears no matter where we are.
Right. Now, do you find that being at home, do you have to set up your prayer space in any particular way? Do you have a place in your house that you like to pray, or do you go on walks, or what do you do?
Well, I have the most amazing chair.
Okay.
And I sit in my chair.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes.
Yeah. I've been going on prayer walks around the neighborhood because it's nice to get out anyway. It's nice to do a little physical labor. Like you're saying, it's a good time to fix the house if you want to do some physical labor. And praying around the neighborhood has been helpful for me.
Nice.
We've gone on a couple too. Peggy's getting better, and we've gone a couple times in the last week, so that's good.
Good.
And also, I know a lot of my younger friends, daughter and daughter-in-law and stuff, they're working out at home.
Yes.
So we
are we. We got
Absolutely.
a couple of DVDs, and for senior citizens,
Growing Young.
Oh, good.
And so we're starting to work out 2 times a day. So because we have time.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe you could do an online class.
Oh, holy cow.
We'll loan out the DVDs for free.
Now you have kids and grandkids in the neighborhood, not far away.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What are relationships like now? I mean, how do you interact?
Well, Becky Lindenmeyer is our daughter, and she FaceTimed us last night, and we probably talked for 45 minutes. Where in a normal setting, normal day, they're busy. They don't have time to sit and talk with us. Tom and Mary, our son and daughter-in-law, they were driving to her work to pick up some stuff, and so they FaceTimed us with their children holding the phone. It was
nice.
erratic, but it was still, we were able to see them.
And you all sound like you're pretty savvy on the tech front. Have you had to figure out any of that software, or did you already know how to use most of that?
With help from mostly people from from real life.
Okay.
They really does a great job in helping us. Angela and Casey Cox, and just the tech-savvy people have really got us to be comfortable with a lot of the things, especially Zoom. And I mean, just every time you do it, it's a little bit simpler. There's not too many surprises anymore. You can kind of work your way around. And also with the things on the phone, I mean, it's really good, especially with our children and our grandchildren. They're
I like your family.
Very helpful. Yeah, they're very helpful.
Yeah. So now, since it's just you and I here, and I love your family a lot, but since Becky's not here, we should probably talk about all the things she did wrong when she was growing up.
We did that last night.
I wish I could see the look on her face when she sees that.
talk about our trip to San Quintin.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Ask her about it.
That's good. So now tell me, so one of the things, and I've been a pastor for many years, so I've been in the context of counseling. And one of the things I've run into with couples where one or both of them retire and they're home again is the challenge of being in the same space together. And I remember years ago, this one woman coming to me and saying, I need help. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, my husband is retiring. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a financial problem. And she's concerned about that. She goes, no, I don't know what I'm going to do with that man around the house all the time. So how do we, now that we're in closer quarters with each other, what do you recommend for couples and families?
A lot of prayer.
Yes.
No, we did actually kind of run into it a couple months ago. Yeah. I've been retired almost 2 years. Peggy's been retired maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like I was snipping at her and she was snipping at me, but we talked about it a couple times, and I don't know.
It's better.
Yeah, we started praying about it, relationship wise, and we've always held that, hey, you got to put God first, and then I have to put my wife second, and then my job, and so she's still in that position, and so when we talked it out, we worked it out, and I think we're doing a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from a woman's point of view, he went off 8 hours and was gone, and so the home was my space.
Oh yeah, that's.
And so when he came and is home all the time, he's in my space.
I'm an intruder.
Well, and so I've had to try to let him do certain things that were my responsibility before. He wants to cook.
That's what it was.
He wants to cook, and I like cooking.
Yeah.
So I have to, you have to give up a little bit.
So how did you solve that one? How did you solve the cooking question?
He's doing some of the cooking.
Yeah, she's let me in. I mean, it's mostly been her giving in. And I don't know, I'm an intruder, but I like doing things. And we're seeing how it worked it out, because I like to do the dishes. I like to clean. I like to vacuum occasionally. And
I have to let him.
And she thinks that that's her duty or whatever. I said, listen, we're together. We're best friends. And just relax about it. So she's doing a lot better, I think.
Yeah, it sounds, a husband that insists on vacuuming does not sound the worst of all possible things.
I don't know. But I love laundry.
Okay.
I do laundry. That's my thing.
You can come over to my house if that's.
I have gone over to my children's home and gotten laundry and brought it home to do it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just kind of figure out how to divide it up. And like you say, it helps when we have a foundation of faith, because it means we have shared values and a shared commitment to humility. Because when you believe I'm not the number one thing in the universe, there's somebody higher than me. Yeah. There's a built-in message that we have to be humble because we submit to God. Absolutely. And as that becomes a discipline for us, it gets easier then to care for one another in a gracious way. Yeah. And that's a lesson, takes a lifetime to learn, but
it has to be humility. There has to be humility in it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other advice that you'd have for people who are home? So, because it's going to be a little while before we can get out and, work with Habitat for Humanity and build houses and do those kind of volunteer activities. Anything you'd recommend for people who are at home today saying, today's the day I'm going to go crazy. What should I do?
One thing for me is to catch up on your daily Bible reading. Like, I had a habit of maybe going every other day. And so I'm on in February. And so that's why I need to get up to March, whatever this is, March 23rd or whatever, 28th. And I would say instead of just taking 15 minutes to do 2 days, take an hour and get 4 days. And so that's going to be my goal. When the end of this quarantine gets done, I want to be on that day. I want to be on the day in my daily Bible reading. That's a goal that I've set for myself.
That's a good goal. You're following a schedule. Do you have are you using the U version of the Bible with their built-in Bible reading schedules?
No, I'm actually have a hard copy that I have that I keep at a certain place and I read.
Okay, so you have your own schedule that you've designed.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay.
Well, goodness, just trying every day, and I don't always do it, I have to be honest with you, but going to God's word, whether it's Jesus Calling or Bible Study Fellowship, Rooted, I finished that, and so I don't have that to do anymore. But texting my groups, I love doing that because we have a thread on each of our groups, our couples group and my girls group, and letting them know what I've experienced in my study for that day. Sometimes I'll just share a portion of the notes from BSF or what God has shown me. And it's, I love the phone. And my group, a lot of us are retired, so we just get back to each other and we share prayer requests, and you can spend, an hour and a half doing that in the daytime. The phone is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I think when all this is said and done, those of us who like to do ministry will find that we did some more effective ministry than we would have if we were busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was going to Starbucks every morning and doing my Bible study there, I was able to minister outside of my church family.
Mm-hmm.
But since I'm not able to do that anymore,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully I will again.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. Well, wonderful. I appreciate so much you spending time with me this morning and letting me get outside of my house virtually a little bit, and appreciate all your wisdom that will be helpful for all of our church to reflect on.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Jim.
Yeah. And thank you for the beautiful background. I love watching the ocean as we talk.
I showed the beach. Yeah,
Yes.
I showed the beach. That's good.
Well, God bless you both. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye, Jim.
Okay, bye-bye.